Hi and welcome to another episode of Found in the Wild. Now the basic gist is that my friend Stan Notchev has a really cool Instagram account where he takes photos of old cars and old buildings and stuff. And so basically I take photos that he has shot from his Instagram accounts and talk about the cars he finds and go a little bit deeper into their history and kind of how they fit into the cosmos. Now today we're talking about a car I really like. This is a 1970 Ford Torino GT that Stan found rotting out in Hamilton, Ontario. It's a legit peak year muscle car just sitting out in the open. I think that's so cool. I mean, this probably happens a lot more in southern places, but in the GTA, it's a pretty rare effect. Now the Torino was Ford's mid-size muscle car offering. They of course had the Mustang. The Mustang is famous, everyone knows it. But in the size class up to compete with Chevelles, GTOs, Roadrunners, etc., they had the Torino GT. Now in 1970, Ford made about 200,000 Torinos, but of those, 60,000 were Torino GTs like this one. What does a Torino GT get you? Well, it gets you a really cool grille and that sticker, and it was basically just a performance version of the Ford Torino. Now, amazingly, the Ford Torino offered 8 engines in 1970. American cars of this period, especially mid-sizers, came with a huge buffet of engines. Now, being a Torino GT means that this is not a 6-cylinder car. We're looking at least a 302. Now, going up the ladder, there's 2 351s you could have ordered. You could have had the 351 2-barrel or the 351 4-barrel. Looking at the VIN code, we can tell that this car was born a 351 4-barrel, and that was a pretty stout motor in 1970. That thing made 300 horsepower at 5,400 RPM, so it was a really stout performer. It actually had 11-to-1 compression, which was pretty serious, so for a small block car back in the day, this was quite a car. We can see peeking through the window that it's got a 3-speed automatic transmission behind it. It would have been a FMX or would have been a C6 depending on the engine you chose. I'm not 100% sure which one this is equipped with, but it was a 3-speed automatic. Now there were 3 different 429 engines available in 1970, which is pretty amazing. The base one was a 360 horsepower unit, just kind of your standard big car engine. It would have been about the same as you'd find in a Ford Thunderbird or even a Lincoln or something like that. It was pretty regular, just a very large engine. Next up on the ladder we have the 429 Cobra Jet. Now this is where things get serious because that compression ratio goes from 10.5-to-1 as we had in the cooking grade model up to 11.3-to-1, and that bumps up horsepower officially only 10 horsepower to 370. I want to point out that Ford, everyone in the muscle car era underrated their horsepower, but Ford was by far the worst offender, the most egregious, and so it's impossible to nail down what these old Ford motors made, frankly because they lied about it so always. Anyways, they officially made 370, God knows what it really made. And then we have the ultimate top dog, which is the Super Cobra Jet 429, a super rare engine, a basically scratch-built drag racing engine for the Torino. They're super rare and they make officially 375 horsepower, but I mean, it's gotta be 420 or so in that neighborhood at least. Now this exact car is pretty cool to me in just how rotted and weathered it is. It's sitting so low, I wonder if the leaf spring shackles have actually rotted through the floor and that's why it's sitting super low in the back, but it's also not in level ground, so it's pretty hard to tell. One detail I like is check out the padlocks on the hood pins. These cars did have hood pins from the factory that they didn't have padlocks on them. That was added by this careful owner. Just trying to make sure no one steals his prize 351, I guess. So that was an interesting little touch. The other thing I really like on this car are the laser stripes. They were optional in different colors actually. I think they came in blue as well. It doesn't help the car go any faster, but it sure looks faster with those yellow and red laser stripes. They also came in a blue to white design, which is pretty cool. The Torino GT never really achieved the fanfare and the fame achieved by its muscle car competition. Like for example, everyone knows and loves the 70 Chevelle. Everyone knows the Pontiac GTO. Everyone knows the Dodge Charger, Plymouth Roadrunner, but not everyone knows about the Ford Torino GT. Today, it's a pretty rare muscle car to see rolling around. You just don't see them. Some of the cars we've seen on Found in the Wild are way too far gone to ever be brought back, but this one, because it's a 351 4-barrel, because it's a Torino GT, and because it just generally doesn't look that bad, I really think this has a chance of coming back, and I really do hope it makes it onto the road again. So thanks for watching. We'll see you next time with another weird car that we're going to dive way too deep into.